Hi, and welcome back to the challenge. We're back with Colin. He came back from last year's challenge. If you did last year's challenge, remember he was on, I think, day 3 and 4. So he's come back and he's going to help us with the arm balance portion for today. So it'd be great to see some of these arm balance preparations. But let's begin today's practice in child's pose. So have your big toes together, your knees just wide enough for your ribs to fit in between, and then let your hips just start to settle back and down towards your heels. When we were practicing Navasana a couple days ago, I asked you to find this action of almost like you're hollowing out in your front body and letting your back body start to open up. So feel that spread through your back ribs. Breathe into the space of your lower back. Then come up onto your hands and your knees. And stretch back into downward dog. Push down into your hands evenly, especially reach into your middle 3 knuckles. Then rotate your outer upper arms down to the floor so you feel your shoulder blades broad on your back. Push into the hands, rotate, spread. And then just feel all that space in your back ribs. Instead of trying to sink, open up. Inhale, glide forward into plank pose. Start to warm up the shoulders. Exhale, stretch back into dog pose. Inhale into plank pose. Exhale, stretch back into dog. Inhale into plank. Then set the knees down, knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. Tip your sit bones up and wheel your chest forward into cow. And exhale, tuck your buttocks under, cat. Inhale. And exhale. One more time, flow with your breath. Then come into neutral and send your right arm forward. Turn your thumb up. Stretch your left leg back behind you, keeping your hips as level as you can. Exhale, bring the elbow and knee towards each other. Inhale to reach back out. Exhale, elbow, knee in. Inhale, reach back out. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, back out. Then lower your hand and your knee down. Change sides, left arm forward, right leg back. And 3 times on this side, moving with your breath. Then curl your toes under, press into those hands, keep your lower back open, your belly plugged in, just lift your knees up 1 inch up off the mat. And hold there for 5, 4, feel the heat building in your arms and your upper body. 'Then stretch into downward dog. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Put a little bend in your knees and let your head drop. Grab a hold of opposite elbows. Change the clasp of your elbows. Then release your hands and roll yourself up to stand. Stand tall in mountain pose. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into a flat back. Step back into plank pose. Lower slowly into chaturanga. Lift back up into plank. Lower down onto your belly. Reach your arms back, toes back. Inhale into modified locust. Press down through the tops of your feet. Lift your inner groins up towards the ceiling and firm your buttocks towards your heels. Lower your chest back down. Press up into plank pose. And stretch back into down dog. Look in between your hands. Step, walk, or hop your feet up. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up, reach down through your feet, raise your arms. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, find a flat back. Step back into plank pose. Lower slowly into low plank pose. Pause. Lift back up. Lower onto your belly. Inhale into locust. Stretch your arms back. Turn your outer thighs down towards the floor. Engage the backs of the legs. Lower your chest back down and press back up into plank. Stretch back into down dog. Raise your right leg up behind you. Exhale your knee to your chest. Pull up and step your foot all the way up by your thumb. Come up onto your fingertips. Reach your heart forward. Then float your arms back at your side. Feel your back muscles turn on. Roll your chest open. Then set your left hand down and twist. Take your right arm up. Bring your hand back down. Step back into plank pose. Lower slowly into low plank. And lift right back up. Glide back into down dog. Change legs. The left leg, raise it up behind you. Exhale, pull your knee up to your chest. And step your foot all the way up. Then float your arms back behind you. So feel those strong back muscles supporting the opening of your chest, your front body. And then keeping your chest open, lower your right hand down, spin and take your left arm up. At the same time, reach from your hips back towards your back heel. Scoop your navel up to your heart, turn with your arms. Reach the arms in opposite directions. Bring your hand back down, step back into plank pose. Hold here. Now bring your right knee up to your right elbow. Change sides. Left knee up to left elbow. Change sides. Right knee to right elbow. Change sides. Left knee to left elbow. Stretch back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to the front. Inhale, find a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach to your feet as you raise your arms. Exhale, Samastiti. Chair pose. Bend your knees and sit back. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into a flat back. Step back into plank. Hold in your plank. Bring your right knee up to your right elbow. Then lift it up into your armpit and around your back. Pull up. And then slide it down to your outer wrist. Exhale, pull it back up to your armpit. Lift up. Slide it down towards your wrist. Ooh, this is hard as hell, I know. Last one, pull it back up to your armpit. Hold, lift. And then step your foot up by your right thumb. Good job. Turn your back heel down for warrior one. Inhale, reach right up the midline. Hips reaching back to your back heel. Grow tall up out of your lower back. Bring your hands back down. Step back. Lower slowly into low plank position. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Shift into plank pose. Bring your left knee up to your left armpit. As you inhale, slide it down towards your wrist. Exhale, pull up by your pit. Inhale, slide down to your wrist. Exhale, pull it up into your pit, lift it up there. Good, then step your foot all the way up and set up your back foot. Warrior one, inhale, come up. Bring your hands back down, step back, take a vinyasa, or just go right back into downward facing dog. Then look in between your hands, step or float up to the front. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into chair pose. Press up to stand, Samastiti. Inhale into chair. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower into Chaturanga, low plank position. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into down dog. Step your right foot, warrior one. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back and lower. Now remember, you can just skip the vinyasa and go right back to down dog. Step your left foot, warrior one. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, Chaturanga. Then step your right foot all the way up by your right thumb. Come back up into warrior one. And open up to your side for warrior two. Now just make sure that your right toes are pointing straight ahead. Your center ankle, center knee, center hip, all tracking. And then today we're going to go into modified side angle. So put your right hand down onto the inside of your foot and then take your left arm up. Now when you went to go put your right hand down, I bet that your right leg wanted to twist inward, the knee wanted to sink in. So use your arm to help pry your knee back open. And like Colin's doing here, firm the hip towards your back heel. Then wrap your left arm behind your back. And with that arm in the internal rotation position, the shoulder is going to want to sink onto your chest. Instead, lift your shoulder head up off your chest, open up your chest. Make sure that your right knee didn't cave in. See if your right thigh can sink a little deeper, but then reach into your back heel, lift up your belly, grow through your low back. Take your left arm back up. Press down into your feet, inhale, come back up. Then straighten your right leg and reach into triangle pose. And so even though the leg is straight, same action with your right hip. Draw your right hip back towards your back heel. Open up like your back's up against the wall. Press down through your feet, pull with your top arm, inhale, come back up. Then bend your right knee, bring your hands down to the mat, and step back into downward dog, or if you'd like, you can add a vinyasa to build up your body strength. Now we just have to be careful doing all those vinyasas as we're developing back bend health in the spine. There's a tendency, remember we talked about hinging from the lower back. So there's going to be a point where you start to give up and just go into your low back flexibility. So just feel what the right amount is for you with the vinyasas. Step your left foot for warrior one. Inhale, come up. And same with the shoulders and the chaturangas. When you feel your shoulders are burning out, you don't want to keep doing the chaturangas. Open up to your side for warrior two. So glance down at that left leg, check that it's all lined up, ankle, knee, hip. Strong through your arms like you're pushing down into tables, turn on the arm muscles, and then spread from your collarbones into your fingers. Then reach and put your hand down onto the inside of your foot. Take your right arm up. Make sure that that left leg didn't twist in. Pry the knee open again, firm the hip back to your back hip, fasten it back, then wrap your arm behind your back for the half bind. So with that arm in the internal rotation, once you get the hand behind your back, open up the front of the right shoulder again. Create space. See if your left thigh can sink just a little deeper. Push from your hips into your back heel. Lift up your navel, get space to your lower back again. Then take the arm back up. Press down through your feet and come back up into Warrior Two. Straighten your left leg and reach into Triangle, Udita Trikonasana. Press down evenly into your left foot, your big toe mound, little toe mound, and center heel. Move that left outer hip crease towards your back heel without tucking your hip under you, but make sure that your butt isn't swinging behind you. Find it so that your center hip is in alignment with your center left ankle. And by center hip joint, which is about right here. I'm showing it on myself. Then press to your feet, come back up. And bend your knee, hands to the mat, step back into downward facing dog or out of vinyasa, your call. All right, now here we go. Step your right foot up to your right outer hand and left foot up to your left hand so that your feet are about shoulder distance apart with your big toes turned out slightly. Now, like we were practicing in squat day, keep the inner ankles lifted, the shins moving back, and then start to sit your buttock back to knee height. Pause right there. And then without your outer heels lifting, slowly start to lower your buttocks as low as it can go. Oh, that's a really good squat you got there. Then, this is a good one to watch. Then, if possible, if your butt is all the way down, join your palms. If your butt's just stuck up here, just keep your fingertips down and work on letting your butt drop. Then fingertips back down to the ground, lift your buttocks up and fold forward. Clasp your hands behind your back. And stretch the knuckles up and over. You can always use a strap or a towel if your shoulders are tighter. Then set your fingertips back down onto the floor and inhale into the flat back position again. Bring your feet all the way together. And all the way, I even want the heels together so there's this slight, very subtle angle outward. Then lift your heels up and drop your buttocks onto your heels, slowly and controlled. Then take the knees wide apart like we did for child's pose so you can stretch your arms forward on the insides of the knees, hands on the ground. Head down, walk your hands as far forward as you can as you drop your buttocks back. Okay, so hang out here for 5 breaths. Phase 1, or you can come into phase 2. You can wrap the arms around the shins to go to the hands to the heels. Then last part, hands back out in front of you. Bend your elbows straight back so that these shins, the upper shins, hook way up high by the top of the tricep where it meets your armpit. Then with your elbows bent out to the sides just slightly, as your hands press down, the shoulder blades go broad, plug your navel into your spine, let your lower back spread, and then start to lean into your hands. And see if you can start to bring your body weight all the way into your hands. Maybe you can lift your feet up, and then maybe you can start to straighten your arms and pull up. Then sit the buttocks towards the heels, tuck it under, pull up in your belly, and then set your feet back down. Nice job. Boat pose. Sit your buttocks onto the ground, arms forward. Lower into low boat pose. Come back up into Navasana. Reverse plank. Place your hands a foot behind you. Plant your feet down. Then lift your heart, roll your shoulders open. Phase 1, you can just keep the buttocks down, lifting the chest, or if you have the upper body strength and the shoulder mobility, lift your hips all the way up. Lower your butt back down. Navasana, round 2. Knees up. Lower slowly into Ardha Navasana. Come back up, Navasana. Reverse plank. Put your hands a foot behind you. Lift your heart first, and then see if you can start to lift your hips up. Lower your hips back down. Last one, Navasana. Ardha Navasana. Come back up. Then cross your legs, put your hands down, and go back into downward facing dog. Step your right foot for crescent lunge. Inhale your arms up. Bring hands to prayer and lean your chest out over your knee. Twist, take your left elbow to your knee. Bring your hands down to the mat. Then straighten your right leg, step your back foot a few inches closer, and fold forward over your right leg. Step back into downward dog. Change sides, left foot up. Inhale into crescent lunge, raise your arms. Bring hands to prayer, lean out over your knee, and twist. Bring your fingertips back down. Straighten your left leg, step the back foot a little closer, and fold forward over your left leg. Then from here, walk your hands around to the right, parallel your feet, hook your big toes, and inhale, come into a flat back. Exhale, bend your elbows out to the side, let your head drop down. Inhale, come back into a flat back. Walk your hands around to the front of your mat. Downward dog, stretch back. Jump through to seated, lie down onto your back. And set up for bridge pose. Bring your heels close to your buttock, feet hip distance apart. Lift your hips up. Lower your hips back down. Take a breath. Lift your hips back up. Then I'm not teaching this today. We're not really there in the practice yet, but if you're somebody who likes to do Urdhva Dhanurasana, the full wheel, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, just hang out here. Lower yourself slowly back down. Hug your knees gently into your chest. And take happy baby. Reach onto the insides of your knees, grab a hold of the outsides of your feet or your big toes if you're less flexible in your hips. Then release your feet and stretch out for Shavasana, corpse pose. Let your hands rest at your side, palms facing up. Just let go now. Let your body drop into the mat. Let go of the tension in your feet and in your legs. Empty the hands. Relax your shoulders, your jaw, your tongue. Let all the muscles in your face relax. With each exhalation, let yourself sink just a little bit deeper into Shavasana. Then take a slightly deeper, fuller breath in and out through your nose. Bend your knees. Roll over to your right side. Bless you. And press yourself up to seated. Join your palms together. Thank you. Namaste. All right, thanks for joining us. Make sure to hit the like button. Let me know how it went with the crow pose today. Were you able to get up into the crow? Colin showed it really well, so if you have difficulties with it, keep practicing that. And also, while you're at it, make sure to check him out on Instagram. Give him a follow on there. See what he's up to. His Instagram handle is @theyogamonger. That's right, right?
That's right.
Cool. He also teaches locally in San Clemente at Pure Love Yoga. So if you're ever in town, check him out. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.